Welcome. This is the Smiling Banjo Podcast presented by the Philly Folk Song Society. My name's Emily Drinker. I am a Philly-based singer-songwriter. I've been coming to the Folk Fest since I was, I think, 12 years old, and I love it here very much. And this podcast is all about some of our artists at the fest. We're digging in and getting to know some of our main stage acts. Right now, we're actually backstage here in the green room of the Martin main stage, and I feel really, really honored to get to talk today with one of our main stage acts, the Grammy-winning Bentley feuder, Dom Flemons. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, so glad to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just seeing online that you were just on Bentley Feud.
Yep, that's right.
That's so awesome.
I was on there representing African American country music. I was there with a team led by the War and the Treaty,
yes.
And we had Reese Palmer, a wonderful singer-songwriter, another great singer-songwriter, Breland, as well as my good friend Valerie June. And so all of us got together, and we ended up going against Earth, Wind & Fire.
No pressure. Oh my God. Wait, so who won? Or did it air?
Well, it's aired already, but
okay.
People at home are going to have to check it out to see who won.
Oh, I can't
I got all my
answers
answers right. I got no X's. No X's for me.
That's such a great team. That's like some Folk Fest alums that you named there.
Absolutely.
That have all been here. And this isn't your first time at Philly Folk. How does it feel to be back?
It's great to be back. You know, I've been performing here since 2008 when I first started playing at the festival with the Carolina Chocolate Drops, and then I've been back several times since as a solo act as well.
That's awesome. How do you like being in a festival environment compared to so many, because you do so many different types of things. You've spoken, you've been like a keynote speaker at many, prestigious institutions and things like that. And like for you, I don't know, what's your favorite? Like, is solo your preferred mode?
Well, I started out as a solo performer, so in a certain way I'm always most comfortable in that mode, because it's, in some ways it's very easy to be able to navigate the way that I'm going to do a set. There's a certain freedom to being able to do a set as a soloist, because then, when you have a band, you have to arrange things, songs have to go a certain way, and the set list has to be kind of set in stone in a particular way, unless you got a band that you're touring with a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And so as a soloist, I find myself most comfortable. I'm also able to bring out the biggest variety of instruments, because then I can kind of like spread the set out between different song styles and instruments. So I'm always feeling great in that way. When it comes to a festival compared to, say, a club show, when you play a festival, there are multiple acts going on at the same time. So the audience is taking in a lot of energy, a lot of different modes of performance and music listening experiences, and so it allows them to be sort of in a different headspace when they go to see your show. So I think that that's really exciting in a way. Like, I just finished up a banjo workshop with some of my favorite folks, Kathy Fink and Marcy Markser.
I'll be talking to them as well this weekend. Yeah.
Also Rachel Eddy, who I hadn't run into in quite a while, was there. Dan Whitener from Gangsta Grass was there as well, and excuse me, and just being able to have a chance to be in that workshop setting, it allows for musical moments that probably couldn't exist outside of that setting to be there, and so the festival's good for all that.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really great component of Folk Fest, all the workshops. Yeah, that's amazing, and you've worked with hundreds of other incredible artists.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's been great, whether in performing or in a interview capacity, that's I've been able to sort of go a lot of different places, places I never would have guessed when I first started out busking on the streets in Phoenix. I never would have guessed that I would have had the chance to have so many different experiences, but it's just been wonderful. It's just been all part of a wonderful, beautiful experience and a journey that I'm continuing to go on.
Yeah, you've had an amazing career so far. What is coming up for you? What's going on?
Well, gosh, I mean, for the immediate future, I have new gigs I'm doing. Things are starting to open up in a way, so I'm starting to be able to perform out in venues again much more often. I'm doing a lot of writing. Authors have been reaching out to me to write forwards for their books.
Wow.
And so I've been doing that. Like I recently wrote a foreword for the reissue of a biography on D. Ford Bailey, the very first Black Star of country music. And so I wrote a foreword for a book that I'd always loved from David Morton, and so I did that. I wrote another one for a book called Great God Almighty, which is about the Dixie Hummingbirds, and several others that have just been sort of, again, you get to sort of recontextualize these books and to be able to give them a new life.
I just think it's so incredible. Like, you are so gifted that you can be writing forwards, you have, you know, all this scholarly knowledge and work, and then bringing that to your performances too. Like, what do you most hope to convey? I mean, that's kind of a loaded question because there's a lot that you're teaching the audience, but I don't know, what's your biggest hope in a set, like at a festival, to kind of get across?
Well, there's two answers to that question. You know, one, when I started to performing music, you know, one of the things that led me to become a professional was that I found that I could take my formal education, which was in English, and you know, now I have an honorary doctorate in humane letters from my alma mater, Northern Arizona University. Taking the idea of scholarly study of music and being able to take it forward into the 21st century, that was something that made me want to become a professional at first, instead of just being a fan and a person who wanted to play music.
Right.
So there was one aspect where I wanted to show people the scholarship that was out there, and also be able to push that scholarship into the next century, because there was a good amount of there was preserving it, but there was a lot of information that was out there that needed to be updated further to bridge the gap between the generation that had come before, say in the 60s and 70s, going into you know, kids that grew up in the 80s and 90s like me, going forward into the 2000s.
Yeah.
And that was one aspect of it. But then when it comes to performing, I take my cues from people like Dave Van Ronk or Mike Seeger, who used stories and the narratives that you can tell within a story to be able to not only showcase music and the musical styles, but to show a context that can allow the songs to take on a whole other life and become their own sort of orbit that you can live within. And so that's something when performing I try to do. So it's a little bit of twofold. And so when I'm doing my songs and my arrangements, I try to take the audience on a journey in a very conscious way, but then there's also something that's right below the level of perception, so that people can research the music and they can do their own scholarship personally, you know, because I can't expect everybody to read 1,000 books on this, but you can at least hope that they might find interest to be able to go a little deeper.
Definitely. You really open the door for that, and I think you do it so skillfully, and that's really well put. Thank you.
Oh, much appreciated.
So awesome. Yeah, it really interests me. I can't wait to dig deeper. I've seen you perform, and I'm like, man, I do want to read all the books and get into all the stuff. I have an interest in that this place fostered, I think, as a kid, an artist like you, bringing it into the future, and
Absolutely. Well, it's one of the longest running folk festivals of all time.
Yes.
You know, the Philly Folk Fest is very special in a way where it harbors a spirit that was garnered years ago when people wanted to bridge the gap between the world that preceded, say, the Second World War, you know, a very early part of American culture, and bridge it between that early spirit going all the way up to the present. And even the interview we're doing now is trying to continue to move it forward.
Yeah.
That's something it's something that's so important to be able to do. And so Philly's always done an amazing job in doing that. And I'm so glad that it's continuing to harbor that spirit of goodwill and cheer. And then, of course, even though we're talking about all the scholarship, it's not ultimately the most serious place of all time. You know, there's fun here as well. You know, I can't help but think of my good friend Gene Shea and how he was also he was the main spirit animal of this festival, where there was seriousness, but there was fun that had to be had.
A lot of playfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, I really appreciate how much you care about these kinds of traditions.
Because there's a passing of musical knowledge and culture over generations. And of course, having known a lot of folks like Mike Seeger and things like that, that generation has tended to downplay their role. But when you look at it retrospectively, there are things that they did that helped out an older generation, from there. And now we're in a spot where, especially with in a post-digital world, we have a responsibility to be able to show what all was, because there's going to be kids now that they grow up in a fully technologically advanced world that they can't imagine a moment when there wasn't all that technology at their feet,
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that you can dance merengue. You won, right?
That's right. I was on the Cayamo cruise.
That's cool.
Just recently this year. They had a little excursion for the artists, and they had a merengue contest, and they showed us the moves. And
you learned then?
I learned right then, so It was on the spot. They grabbed 7 gentlemen from out on the beach, showed us a little move, and said, "Can you do it?" And I outdanced them all. And it's all
awesome.
rhythm. It's all rhythm in the end, though.
Yeah.
When I first saw Dave Van Ronk back in 2001, one of the things that was so exciting, I saw him in a small club in Phoenix, and it was right before he passed away. One of the things that I found so amazing about his performance was that he broke down the fourth wall.
Right.
And he made you feel like you wanted to engage with what he was talking about and the songs he was singing. And that's one of the things I try to do in my performances, and you'd asked me about, with the festival, do you feel that sort of energy? Is it easier to connect?
Yeah.
And in some ways, a club can be a little easier because it's a much more controlled energy. But with a festival, it's like energy moves in waves, and so you can kind of do like bringing people to church. You can really get that energy, ball it up, and you can really get people excited about things.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I always can work with based on who I'm playing for,
That's a real skill.
Yeah, because some songs, like when I do my songs, like I have break sections that I can play them very straight ahead, or I can play them with a little more energy and excitement, and that's based on what the audience is feeling. Because not every time does the audience want to give to you.
Right.
And a festival, they give a lot.
Yes.
And so that's something that's really exciting about being at a festival, because they're taking in so much, they tend to give a lot. So you can, as a performer, give a little bit more. So that's something that's really beautiful.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's cool. Thank you so much, Dom. I truly appreciate this chat, and can't wait to see your set later, and thank you.
Hey, it's a real treat. Thank you so much again.
So we're going to play one of your songs, or maybe a video even. We'll chat later about what it should be, but it'll roll right after this episode for our viewers to enjoy. And thank you again for tuning in, everybody, live here from the Philly Folk Fest. Please support and check out Dom Flemons. Thank you. Take care.
I'm overjoyed to be back on stage with you tonight, especially to get a chance to introduce this next artist. So Dr. Dom Flemons is the co-founder of the amazing Carolina Chocolate Drops, Grammy winner, multi-Emmy nominee, International Acoustic Music Award Grand Prize winner, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, music scholar, historian, actor, slam poet, podcaster, creator and host of the American Songster radio show on WSM in Nashville, Tennessee. All of those people here right now, please welcome to the Philadelphia Folk Festival, Dom Flemons.
Well, thank you so much, folks. Now, this next series of numbers here are going to be showcasing a little bit of the North Carolina Piedmont style of guitar. I'm originally from Arizona, but my travels have led me from North Carolina all the way to New York City, Washington, D.C. Now I'm in Chicago. And so I put this little medley together to showcase some of the things I picked up when I was living in North Carolina and got to sit with some of the old timers. I'm going to play some of the well-known Piedmont numbers here. First one's going to be Freight Train, one that I'm sure everybody's heard at one point or another, Elizabeth Cotton. And then I'm going to play a little bit of Etta Baker's Railroad Bill, and then a little bit of the Cannonball
from Leslie Riddle, who traveled around with A.P. Carter in those early years of the Carter family, collecting songs. I want to dedicate to two different people who are no longer with us. Of course, Gene Shea, the spirit animal of Philly Folk Fest. He's been gone for a few years, but we still think about him. Thank you, Gene. And then also I want to pay homage to one of the purveyors of the Piedmont style. Actually, last time I was here, a few years ago at the Philly Folk Fest, I was in the elevator at the hotel talking with Happy Traum about his book, talking about the guitar styles of Brownie McGee. And we've sadly enough lost Happy Traum just a few weeks ago, and I want to just give a shout out to him as well, as being one of the purveyors of the Piedmont style. So here's a little bit of these train songs for you, just to get a little feel. Cannonball. Let's get a little sing-along on this one. I know a lot of people know this one. Let's try it again. Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Please don't tell them what train I'm on. They won't know what route I've gone. Yeah, give yourself a hand.
Dom Flemons.